is that, hey, all of these distractions I can handle. I deal with those while I'm on the toilet. But while I'm working, what I want Elon to say is I'm thinking about actually buying the dip on something like China. Go over there and consider the fact that you've got a huge crisis of manufacturing. You're going to have a lot of available labor. Go build a couple more factories. They are spending money on infrastructure and stimulus like crazy. Build some cheap factories over there and build some more. Now, I know we've got trade tensions, and so that could give Tesla some issues with Biden.
Sure.
But, boy, oh boy, buy the dip on China.
There's no way in the world Tesla can't get a piece of that action, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Look, they're going to get a big chunk of that Inflation Reduction Act, which isn't really reducing inflation, but they'll get a big chunk of that EV portion of that. They should build more factories in America as well. Look, go to Florida, go to Texas.
My Tesla stock price target for year-end 2024 is $3,000 per share. In 2024, I am expecting the two biggest catalysts to date in the history of Tesla, robotaxis doing their first fully autonomous fares somewhere on planet Earth, most likely in the US, maybe in China, and the release of the $25,000 Tesla, aka the Tesla Q.
Subdivisions, I'm predicting that Tesla stock price in about 15 years will be somewhere around $48,893, which from today's date is roughly 47x where we are today, which is a lot,
If you pay the MSRP, you either got ripped off, or you got a good deal, or you paid too much. No one really knows. It's just, who knows? And the other thing is MSRPs, they do change as well. This year here in Australia, for example, MSRPs on about 50% of cars have changed. But, I mean, you know how it is in the United States, guys. I mean, you walk into a dealership and who knows what the price is that you're going to pay. It'll change from week to week, a little bit like Tesla's strategy. I'm not saying that I necessarily agree with Tesla's strategy. To be honest, I don't really care if they raise the prices up and down. I don't think it's that much of a big deal. But anyway, Tesla shareholders, they feel like this is contributing to the fall in Tesla's stock price. Do you agree? Do you think that's true? I don't think it is, but it's possible, maybe.
Hi friends, welcome back. So those are a couple of the Tesla pumpers from Pumperland. I wanted to share what the kids are watching, share some thoughts, and also to give you a preview of the Tesla earnings. So first, the Kevin dude, he represents actually sort of what people were thinking about a year or so ago, that Tesla was going to grow forever and all he had to do is build lots and lots of factories, pump out lots and lots of cars, and everyone's going to buy Tesla and they're going to have 100% market share. People really believe that stuff, so who knows? Obviously, that turned out to be false. And also, too, I wanted to illustrate how people just make stuff up and talk about stuff they have no idea what they're talking about, and that's the Kevin dude. The Viking dude, which I showed you guys, he's talking about, don't worry about price cuts, don't worry about falling stock, let's be delusional together and ignore reality. That's essentially what his channel is, and a lot of channels out there are like that. They appeal to an audience that don't want to believe the news and just sort of want to live in fantasy land. Unfortunately, that's not a successful strategy in the stock market. And also, too, you have a lot of people that are really, really frustrated. They're going to say, the game is all rigged, you can't win, blah, blah, blah. The thing is, guys, if you don't actually look at real numbers and you pretend like the news is all fake, sure, you might think that, but I just want to encourage you to live in reality, and hopefully we can do that together on this channel. This is the headlines today. It says Tesla shareholders brace for the worst results in 7 years. So essentially, you had all these people just so used to Tesla just constantly growing. I've been warning you for a long time. It's just tough. You get to a certain point, and your growth just slows down. The problem is like they're kind of luxury cars, right? They're not really priced cheaply, so the average person can't really afford it. And so then you're going to run out of consumers at the upper end. Moreover, these are electric cars, and not everyone wants an electric car. Surprise, surprise. And for whatever reason, the Tesla pumpers, they think everyone wants to buy a Tesla. And it's not necessarily the case. There's just a finite amount of people who want to buy said things. Moreover, with the price cuts, it signals basically a demand problem. And also, too, when you cut the prices, you're not going to make as much money. So pay no attention to people like, oh, don't worry about price cuts. Revenue doesn't matter. Don't worry about the stock. What are you talking about? It's like basic business is you got to make money. People's like, oh, you're making a bunch of money. We'll buy your stock. But if it turns out your growth is slowing, you're not making so much money, the stock becomes less attractive, right? Moreover, this is something I want to remind you guys. It's kind of a funny one. So this was a headline back in 2022. Elon Musk promised to build you 50,000 semis starting in 2024. So that should be around now. Where's my 50,000 semis a year? Where are they? I checked recently. It was a article about Pepsi. Pepsi put in an order for 100 of these semi things. Pepsi got 36 of them. Go figure. So we're pretty far away from the 50,000. And I just have to remind you that Elon does this quite a lot. He overpromises and underdelivers. And so the question that I have going into earnings is like, how many promises can this guy make? And will people actually believe it when he clearly doesn't meet his promises? So again, he promises you 50,000 semis. They're not here. What are you going to do? Well, what you're going to do is you're going to vote on whether or not to pay Elon Musk $56 billion. And I mentioned to you guys before, if you do vote for this thing, they're going to dilute you. Your stock will go down maybe 10, 15%. And moreover, there's a high chance that Elon Musk will probably leave in a couple of years. That's what I predict. He gets the money. He'll stay a little bit longer, then leave. He doesn't get the money, he'll leave. So either way, it doesn't look good. And I think this is going to be a big issue going forward. I mentioned this guy several times. He's 52 years old. Don't expect him to do this forever. He's not going to. I understand. If you're young and you're in your 20s, these kind of things that doesn't, you just don't think about it. But I'll just tell you, things change when you get older. You slow down. You're like, you know what? I just don't want to deal with the stress anymore. I know you think Elon Musk's awesome, guys, but he's probably thinking, you know what? I want to get my golden parachute and get out. That's just reality. That's what people think about when you get older. I want my golden parachute and get out. The other thing is they just did a bunch of layoffs, so it'll be interesting what they say about that. I have some details I want to share with you about who was fired, etc. But we may get more details in the earnings call, and we'll see, because it'll kind of give you a general sense of like where we're going into this, coming year or so, and about the future. Because Elon was promising that they're going to have some sort of robotaxi announcement or whatever on August 8th. It was basically a reactionary, knee-jerk reaction to the Reuters article that said that they canceled the Model 2, which is a low-cost one, and then Elon's like, you're a bunch of liars, but he didn't say how they were lying. And then he just, instantly tweet out that we're gonna have this, big thing on August 8th. So who knows what that is? But I promise you that if you're working at Tesla today, you're probably working harder, and Elon's going to be ordering you around to do things quickly. And they're going to change direction at the whim of the CEO. It's not a great place or person to work for when they behave this way. It was referred to as demon mode, but it is what it is. Your stock is down 40-some%, and it is a really interesting one to watch because it's the most popular retail stock. And also, too, it is a kind of, how can I say, was a rising star. Now it's a falling star, and we're all kind of looking to see how far it goes. And they got so much drama around this thing. That's why it makes it so entertaining to watch every single day. So yeah, down 43% year to date. As of recording, you're down about 65% from the top, so pretty crazy. And regarding layoffs, we got some news that I guess they cut a marketing team. Now, my understanding, this is the growth content marketing team, so they probably still have other marketing people on staff, plus they have all the influencers that pump out this stuff. But this is an interesting one because it's 40 people were on this team, and I think there are a lot of new hires here. So why does this matter, and why am I mentioning it? Because, well, there's two reasons. One is Elon Musk is publicly saying that their ads were generic, could have been any car, so he's basically saying your work sucks, which is not very nice. And these people are already out, but the issue is that, like, just think about this logically. If you run a business, you hire 40 people, like 3 months ago, and suddenly you fire them. It just looks like you don't know what the heck you're doing, because it takes a lot of money to hire people, and then you just, I guess, wasted a bunch of time, and now you're going to fire said people. It's weird, right? Who knows what they're doing over there? And I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. Just to hire someone and fire someone so quickly is bizarre. The other thing is executives are leaving. We talked about before on the channel. And also, too, guys, I have a list, actually, of the type of positions of people are leaving. I took out their names and their emails and stuff, but I did look at this stuff, and I'll kind of share a few profiles here. It's all public, but sharing emails is kind of weird. But I'll just share. This is the titles. So, like, thermal engineer, manufacturing quality engineer. Again, these are some of the titles that were laid off. Systems analytics, software engineer, mechanical design engineer, logistics analyst, software engineer, data engineer, senior industrial engineer, senior software engineer, senior manager, software engineer, etc. So I don't know what these people were working on at Tesla, but I'm just saying that it's all over the map here with the kind of things that were that they were firing. Some of the people don't have their jobs listed, but we know some people in the factory were also fired. And I want to read a couple descriptions of the people who were laid off, and I should say lay off instead of fire. But this is a person named Raul Modi, and one thing I noticed with the people who were listing that they had been laid off, there was a lot of Indians actually, really a lot. And if you work in tech, it's not surprising, but I just want to mention that because I think sometimes people who don't work in tech or don't live in San Francisco, because there's this weird thing where like a lot of Elon fanboys and fangirls tend to be more right wing, and they tend to hate on California all the time and hate on tech workers, etc. which is a whole other weird thing in itself, right? You love Elon, but then you hate the people that works for him. So who knows, right? But I just want to mention that is a real thing. There's a lot of Indians that work at Tesla, and a lot of them were laid off. I could see it in their names and I could see it in their profiles, etc. Some were Asian as well, and some white people, and etc. But I just want to say there was a noticeable amount of Indians that were laid off. This person says here, this Monday, I didn't wake up thinking that I would be typing open to work post on LinkedIn, but here we are. I was one of the 14,000 10% employees who were laid off at Tesla. During my tenure at Tesla, I had the pleasure of working with incredibly talented global team who I would like to thank for being so welcoming, inclusive, and giving me a chance to grow in my career. The reason why I mentioned this one is that like this person was surprised that they were laid off, and I got that gist from a lot of workers. So it wasn't just the factory ones that we talked about before. It seemed like the way they did this surprised a lot of people. Here's another one, and again, I believe this person maybe Indian or something like that. I'm not sure. You guys would know the name better than me, maybe. Abhishek Putige. And this person says, after an incredible journey of 3 years at Tesla, my time there has come to an abrupt end due to recent layoffs, and I find myself embarking on a new adventure. My time at Tesla has been nothing but short of remarkable. And this is the key part I want you to understand. He says here, with a limited 60-day grace period on my current visa status, I am actively seeking new opportunities where I can continue to pursue my passion for system engineering and leverage my experience in system integration and validation, creating data engines. We heard about this too with a lot of workers at Twitter. A lot of people's work was tied to their visa. So when you lay people off in this way, right? Not Americans. I'm talking about people who aren't American. It really screws up your life because you may have to leave the country in a couple of months. And so and I get it. Sometimes you have to lay off people at companies. That part, I get that. That's business, but the way you handle things is matters, right? The way you treat people, like say with the marketing team, we hire them, fire them within a couple of months, or people whose work's tied to their visa need to fire them abruptly. It's really tough, right? You may have kids in school, etc. I just want to understand that this is the kind of way that they treat people over at Tesla. I personally don't think it's right. That's just my personal opinion on this stuff. This story from a Grace Jong really affected me, and I just want you to listen to her story. She says, about 4 years ago, I was reached by a recruiter from Tesla and accepted an offer to build a warehouse management system from scratch. Over the past 4 years, I received a lot of friendship and grew intensely in my role. Unfortunately, I also faced unexpected challenges when a work-related accident left me with a spinal cord injury and permanently disabled. Through intensive rehabilitation, I persevered and was able to return to my position for another year. Regrettably, like many of my previous colleagues, I was notified last night I was impacted by a company restructuring and had to part ways. Despite these setbacks, I remain passionate about leveraging my extensive experience and diverse skills. I excel at driving efficient process, innovative solutions, and cross-functional collaboration. If you're aware of any relevant openings within your network, I would greatly appreciate your referral or recommendation. I am eager to discuss my qualifications in more detail and explore opportunities that align with my background and strengths. Thank you in advance for any connections, advice, or opportunities we can offer. So I hope you understand why I feel for this person that literally put her life and her health on the line for this company, and they just wake up one day and you're fired. And I wish her the best of luck, and I wish everyone the best of luck. So when we talk about these things, guys, I don't want you to think that oh yes, I'm so happy that people got fired. I'm not, and I understand that it happens. I completely get it. So I mentioned I completely understand that sometimes companies do have to lay off people, but just the way things were handled, and then when you hear about kind of someone that got visa problems, or this person got hurt on the job and then she gets laid off, it's and seriously hurt too. And I I don't know the story behind that stuff, but I just and I showed you guys before the video of Elon Musk was dancing the night before the layoff, and you can find my old video on that. It's just I don't know. It's hard to be sympathetic to this person, and yet part of what bothers me, like the cult that still is, and it's not just being sympathetic to this person like who just makes stuff up all the time, and this is Elon Musk. Is people are like, how can I say, have to tell lies and fabrications to keep this sort of facade going, and it's frustrating. You know, I try my best to tell you guys the truth in this stuff. That's why I had to play those 2 clips. It's just crazy. This whole recall thing I mentioned to you guys with the old pedal. None of the pumpers really addressed it fully. They don't really show you anything. And moreover, the odd thing about the Elon situation, and if you guys notice on my channel, the whole free speech stuff, it's kind of irrelevant to me. I just talk about the business and talk about the numbers. You know, and my personal opinion on this stuff is, hey, you can have any opinion you like. I really don't mind. It doesn't bother me. What does bother me though is that people just making stuff up. I'm not really into that. And the other thing that I think is strange too as well with the Elon situation, and sort of why I'm bringing the whole, you know, free speech or stuff or whatever. I knew about this stuff already, but you know, just Wall Street Journal put an article about it and just kind of mentioned it, and because I think it's relevant. So it says here, Elon Musk lost Democrats on Tesla when he needed them most. But the basic gist of this thing is like, it's not hard to understand. It is, you know, Elon comes out first and he's like, hey, I'm going to build an electric vehicle. I'm going to sell a whole bunch of these things in California. You know, maybe people, you know, who are going to buy these things believe in, you know, electric power. Maybe they also think global warming is a real problem, etc. And they, you know, main to be more left, right? That's sort of your base. And they also have higher incomes, these kind of things. And so that'd be more democratic for that kind of audience. What's strange is that Elon Musk like really jumps into the, you know, political arena and then alienates his initial target base. Like that's the people you're targeting. And you're now trying to appeal, say, to pickup drivers in, you know, Alabama, which isn't really people who are going to buy your car. Yes, I guess maybe they're going to love, you know, free speech and they're going to hate Biden and that kind of stuff. But business wise, it doesn't really make sense. The only thing I can think is like maybe Elon just doesn't care about Tesla anymore. I mean, and is like just wants to do other stuff, you know, and I just find that strange. Generally speaking, my opinion on these things is, as a CEO, you want to sell cars to red states and blue states. Don't necessarily just pick a side. And what's strange is on social media, I don't know, the people who I guess spend all day every day commenting and watching, you know, Visit or whatever, they only care about the political side. But you know, I try to come from the business perspective. It's just not wise for a CEO to, you know, try to alienate a certain group, and also too your how can I say, the ones that sort of built your company in terms of your revenue. So I just had to bring that up because I thought this whole latest thing has been so weird. And more evidence of this is funny. I did a video just 17 hours ago where you know, Elon's kind of like falsely representing the price of his car, and even his own platform Twitter was like, yo, if you like Elon, you also like the NFL, Fox News, and Tesla. And I just thought that was really telling of sort of the world that we live in. Going into earnings, guys, it's going to be this robotaxi stuff, right? I did a video on this. I encourage you to watch it. It's a funny video. It's Tesla 300 passive income robotaxi business. And the reason why I'm mentioning this video is because there are people out there who are pushing this idea that you're all going to be rich with robotaxis. Like people actually believe this stuff, and the whole thing is ludicrous. And so the thing, what's so funny and why is it ludicrous? Like, just think about this. So you're gonna, you know, have this car and you're gonna go to bed and your car is gonna drive around with you, you know, sleeping, and you're gonna make a bunch of money. like people actually believe that? Like, is that real? And the other thing too with this kind of stuff as well is like, okay, let's say, you know, he's gonna push the robotaxi stuff. One is, I don't think the technology is gonna work for a while yet, so that's one problem. The other problem is you're going to have regulation issues, right? So let's say you actually do get it to work. So that's step one. Step two, you got to get people to regulate it, right? Step three, you got to get people to pay for this thing. You know, this is just my opinion. I've said this before. When I buy a car, I want to buy my dang car, and that's the price. I do not want to pay a monthly subscription fee. And I don't think I'm alone. But for whatever reason, whenever I watch the, you know, Tesla pumpers and stuff, they act like everyone's going to sign up for a monthly subscription fee on their car. I mean, I just feel like that's completely delusional. and then they say, well, the way to justify paying that monthly fee is I'm going to profit off my robotaxi, renting it out to other people. And again, it's delusional. I mean, think of it this way. You're talking about if you say you're going to rent your car as a robotaxi, you're going to have to get some sort of permit from where you live, right? I mean, how long do you think that's going to take? How much is that going to cost? And is local, governments really going to go with that, be it city, county, state, or whatever? I'm not seeing it. Moreover, like with your robotaxi business, you're going to have to like clean the car all the time. How's that going to go for you? You got to charge the car. Also, too, the people who were saying is the first thing my wife pointed out. She's like, because in the video that I was mentioning, you guys, where one of the YouTubers is like, yeah, you're gonna have a fleet of 10 robotaxis and you're all gonna be rich. He really said that. You gotta watch it. It's crazy. And the first thing my wife said is like, okay, so where are you gonna park all these things? It's like, I mean, it's like just basic logic. I don't know what these people are thinking. Moreover, talking about like, because Musk is gonna try to sell you these robotaxi stuff, is like, we're in a work from home environment now. So like, aren't we driving less? I mean, it's so weird. I just don't get it. I don't get it in the sense of like, how can we possibly believe this delusion? But he's going to try to push it. The other issue as well is, there's the rumors that they canceled the $25,000 car, the Model 2. We'll see, what that's all about. And also too, are they, when they fire, the 10%, are they done firing, or are they going to keep, laying off more people? I know I say fire, but are they going to lay off more people? I think there's a possibility that they will, so we'll see. It's going to be quite interesting tomorrow. The other one that I think would be interesting as well is what's going on with the succession plan. Who's a second in command at Tesla when Elon steps down? Who knows, when that's going to be, but he's not going to be there forever. And I'd like to get some clarification on that. That would probably be a touchy subject if someone asked him, but we'll see. So anyway, let's see what's going to happen tomorrow. There'll be a lot of drama. I'd like to hear your thoughts on any one of these things, and I'll catch you all in the next video.